June 25th, 2022. A lifelong commitment to martial arts and competition comes to fruition where, against all odds, against many injuries, one of the worst training camps I had ever had, I was able to win my first professional world title. My name is Ross Turbo Levine. This is my story for the road. So I've been competing since I was a young boy, since I was 12 years old. I was doing martial arts competitions. I started training at 7 years old, so I'm now 36. At the time, I was 34, and I'd been competing my entire life as an amateur, and then eventually getting into kickboxing and professional kickboxing. Then I got signed to a league called Karate Combat. It was a new league, kind of blistering and really explosive. Lots of viral knockouts and crazy contact, but it was a really great opportunity for me to showcase my skills at a professional level and hopefully reach a world championship. Over the course of my career there, I had a couple of amazing fights, had a really great knockout leading up to my title fight. Now, the gentleman that I was fighting for the title was probably the most challenging opponent I had had. He had a really great wrestling background and judo black belt. He had been grappling for a very long time, so his skill set really provided a brand new change of things for me and presented some challenges that I'd never dealt with before. So, of course, we had to change up my training. Unfortunately, as we changed up my training, I started gaining a couple more injuries as I wasn't really prepared to start working on those things. About 4 weeks before the event, I was doing some deadlifts, my typical strength training, and I ended up feeling a pop in my back. Keep going. I try and go through it a little bit further, and as I continue, I heard it again, another pop. This time it's a little bit worse. Now I'm starting to get pain down the side of my leg. Go to the doctor. I herniated a disc in my lower back. Unfortunately, I didn't feel like I was in a position where I wanted to call this fight off or push it back. So I didn't tell anybody except for my coaches. We just had to shut down everything in my training camp. I had one sparring session leading up to my first 5-round fight, my first world title fight against this guy who I was completely unprepared to compete with in the past. We did what we could to manage my pain up until fight week, and finally on the Wednesday before my fight, I started feeling like I might be okay, and my coaches were very happy with that and pleased, because whether I was okay or not, on Saturday night, I was getting in that pit and I was competing for a world championship. So despite all of that, I ended up having a really great performance. I was able to use my medical background as a physical therapist to try and take care of myself despite the injuries, despite the lack of training. My nutritionist did amazing. She helped me make weight with no issues. And we put on a hell of a performance. I went out there, and although I feel it wasn't my best, I'm always looking to, knock people out and create these really cool moments. But it was definitely an experience for me where it was my first time really facing a ton of adversity, having to do things different on the fly, and maybe go into a situation where I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be. When it comes to combat and combat sports, the only thing you can truly rely on is preparation. So without having the preparation I wanted, I had to truly rely on my guts, my grit, and my will to succeed. Thankfully, on that night, that was enough. And I was able to put together a dominant performance over the course of 5 rounds and win a unanimous decision against the former world champion in Shahin Atamov. So that is my story for the road, my fight against adversity. And adversity is the mother of greatness. So do not shy away from that. If you are facing adversity, I definitely recommend either getting help with professionals, whether they be coaches, psychologists, mental performance coaches, but adversity is good for you. And just always remember, my coach said this to me too, we can do hard things. You are built for it. We can do it. So always keep pushing forward. Thank you for letting me share my story, and I will talk to you guys soon. Ross Turbo Levine, I'm out.